In a quiet little town, nestled between dusty roads and wide-open fields, a boy named Tiba was becoming something truly special. From a very young age, football wasn't just a game for him, it was like breathing. If a day went by without him touching a ball, he felt like a part of him was missing. While other kids moved from one game to another, Tiba only had eyes for one. Morning, noon, and night, you'd find him with his football. It was his constant companion. He'd dribble down the street, practice in empty fields, and even juggle the ball on his way home from school. The whole community would stop and watch, totally amazed. "Tiba!" They'd shout, "Show us that move again." And with a big smile, he'd weave past imaginary defenders, the ball dancing between his feet like pure magic. By the time he was just 10 years old, he already stood out from every other player. He knew the ball like a loyal pet knows its master. One touch was all he needed for perfect control. His passes were beautiful, his finishing precise. It was like the ball just did whatever he wanted it to. Some said he was gifted, others claimed he was just lucky. But the town elders would often whisper something else. They'd say, "This boy, he carries the grace of God." Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. As the years passed, Tiba started playing in local tournaments. And wherever he played, something remarkable happened. He won. Sometimes his team won because he scored a bunch of goals, sometimes he won best player. Sometimes he was man of the match, other times, he became the highest goal scorer of the entire tournament. It seemed like every single competition ended with someone calling his name. Tiba. The crowd would erupt in applause, then another trophy would be placed into his hands. At first, his parents kept the trophies on a small table in the living room. But as time went on, the trophies just kept coming. Shelves were built, then another shelf, then another. Soon, Tiba's house looked like a football museum. Visitors entering their home would just stare at all the shining cups and medals. His mother would smile and say, "All this came from hard work and God's grace." But Tiba himself remained humble. To him, the trophies weren't the real reward. Just playing football, that was the reward. Thanks for watching. As Tiba grew into his teenage years, his reputation spread like wildfire across countless communities. Whenever a tournament was announced and his name appeared on the team list, you could feel the shift in the air. The other teams would start whispering, "Tiba is playing." You'd see it instantly. Some players would get nervous, others would just fall silent, because everyone knew one thing for sure. If Tiba was playing against you, winning would take nothing short of a miracle. People started traveling from nearby towns, not just for the game, but just to watch him play. And every single time he stepped onto that field, something beautiful happened. He played so effortlessly. One touch, perfect positioning, clean finishing, spectacular passes, and brilliant dribbling. He made football look simple, like a painter gliding a brush across a canvas. I even heard spectators say, "It feels like we're watching the grace of God moving on the field." And it was true. Everything just worked for him. The ball bounced perfectly, his timing was flawless, and his decisions were always right. And the crowd, they absolutely loved him for it. Thanks for watching. As Tiba approached the end of his teenage years, everyone felt something big was about to happen. International scouts, European clubs, professional contracts, it all seemed just around the corner. But strangely, nothing happened. Months turned into years, and still, there was silence. He watched players with less talent get the opportunities he dreamed of, some even leaving for Europe while he stayed behind. It was a really tough season in his life. One evening, he sat quietly with his parents. His father placed a hand on his shoulder and said gently, "My son, God's time is not our time." His mother added softly, "You are gifted, we know it. But what matters most is what the Lord wants for your life." That night, they prayed together, not for success, but for God's will to be done. Even though the door seemed closed, Tiba didn't give up. He kept training, he kept praying, and he kept believing. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories. During those long years of waiting, something much deeper started to grow inside Tiba. It was his relationship with Jesus Christ. He became a born-again believer, and soon, the Word of God became even more important to him than football itself. Many nights, after a long day of training, you could find him quietly reading his Bible. He would pray before every single match, and he would thank God, whether he scored a goal or not. For Tiba, football was no longer just about talent. It had become a platform to glorify God. Sometimes his friends would ask him, "Tiba, how are you always so peaceful?" He would just smile and say, "Because my future isn't in people's hands." Then he'd look up toward the sky and add, "It's in God's hands." And so, he continued to wait. Then one day, everything changed. A single scout, just watching a regional tournament, saw Tiba play. And that was the spark. Within weeks, more scouts were on the sidelines. Soon, it wasn't just local teams. Massive clubs from Europe started asking about him. Offers started to flood in. First the emails, then the phone calls started ringing off the hook. All the doors that had once seemed permanently shut were suddenly blown wide open. It wasn't just one opportunity anymore, but many. His parents sat down with him, and just like before, they prayed. For them, the biggest question wasn't which club was the most famous. It was, where does God want Tiba to go? After much thought, he made his choice and moved to Europe. And when he got there, everyone realized very quickly, Tiba wasn't just talented, he was extraordinary. Don't forget to follow for the next part of this incredible story. Tiba quickly became one of the most admired players at his club. His performances were beautiful: goals, assists, perfect passes, intelligent positioning, everything excellent in football seemed to live inside him. But what surprised his teammates the most wasn't his football, it was his heart. Tiba loved people, he listened to them, he encouraged them, he prayed with them. When a teammate struggled, Tiba was there. When someone was discouraged, Tiba spoke hope. Slowly, his teammates began trusting him deeply. They came to him with personal problems, family struggles, fear, and doubts, and Tiba would sit with them quietly. Sometimes he would ask, "Can I pray with you?" Many of them accepted. Some even began attending church because of him. Soon, people started saying something unique about him. Tiba is not just a footballer, he is like a pastor on the field. He preached Christ not only with words, but with love. And as he continued playing, something became clear to everyone watching him. Tiba was more than a gifted athlete. He was a living example that when talent, faith, and humility walk together, the result is something truly beautiful. Because when Tiba played football, people didn't only see skill, they saw grace. Thanks for watching, and if this story inspired you, please consider subscribing.